to look the other way while this issue continues to get worse.
Mr Chair.
I call Mike Sabin.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Very pleased to take a call on this. For those that aren't aware, my background has had some certain involvement at the bottom of the cliff with this situation as a former police officer and also involved in drug and alcohol education. Firstly, can I just acknowledge, Mr Chairman, the professionals who are working out in the field, the police officers and those across the emergency service spectrum who do an unenvious job, but a very good job, very necessary job, unfortunately, and also those in the treatment community who are doing their level best. This problem, Mr Chairman, with alcohol is not related to alcohol alone. Our substance abuse issues in this nation are something to be frowned upon significantly. But about 85% of people consume alcohol in New Zealand, it's thought, and the vast majority of people, it must be said, actually don't have an issue with that we see with some of the illicit drugs that some members of this House would have us decriminalise tomorrow if they had the chance. The issue then becomes, Mr Chairman, is how do we change those who don't drink responsibly and the implications of that, and because this is a large group across society, it affects a large number of people. So by volume, it is a significant problem. By consequence, I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case. But really, there are a number of issues that need addressing, and Mr Chair, this bill really sets out to address a number of them, and I want to touch on a couple. We've already dealt with the matter of age in the House. My vote was obviously to see the age raised to 20. That was an opportunity missed and gone, and I'm sure our community will take time to remind us of that in due course. But that was only one measure, Mr Chairman, and it's fair to say that a suite of measures, a range of measures across the whole spectrum is required, not one or two sort of big-ticket items, as some would have you think, Mr Chairman. The changes that we've seen in this reform bill go from the area of policing enforcement right through the point of sale area, advertising, licensing, the way in which trusts operate, and giving more powers to councils, Mr Chairman, which has been traversed, and I don't want to speak too much more on that, other than to say that giving power to communities and communities being able to have a clearer say in what they know their community is about and how it operates, I think is very important. One of the significant issues of discussion this afternoon has been price, and I can accept that as the price rises, it will have a deterring effect on some. But as we've seen with tobacco, it has to rise substantially before we really start to see any difference. And in fact, recently there was some talk that a packet of cigarettes would need to go to $100 before it would have a consequent effect that would be substantial in terms of turning people away from that substance. However, alcohol is in a different category again. And if we look at illicit drugs, $1,000 for a gram of methamphetamine doesn't seem to put people off there. So price is not necessarily something that is going to address the issues. Having said that, Mr Chairman, I do believe that the jury is out on minimum pricing. Excise tax and what have you are tools, but again I come back to the point is how far does it need to go before it would make a difference versus the culture change that needs to happen, and culture change comes from empowering a community across a range of ways and imparting a message, not just relying on one lever that would shift that culture. Mr Chairman, there are one important factor, and I think would be far more substantial than the minimum pricing, is actually the tools that this bill seeks to give parents. And that is when children can get alcohol from the adults in a private setting, and this is very, very commonly the case, and as a policeman I certainly saw this, that really things can go off the rails outside of licensed premises, and it is incumbent on this Parliament and indeed through this bill that we give parents more tools, responsible parents more tools to ensure that their children are not in a position where they're drinking irresponsibly. Are you about to hit that buzzer, Mr Chairman, or are you just stretching your arm? But in any event, Mr Chairman, can I just say that the range of tools here is what is important. Not any one measure. And as far as the minimum pricing goes, thank you very much. As far as the minimum pricing goes, I think that will be less effective than the tools available and given to parents. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I call Phil Twyford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to talk about local alcohol